So for us to create the register view, would go to our view, of course. Where are we? Here, great. So for us to create the register view, we'll go to our register here. Sorry, we'll go to our view here, and want to create the register like so. So register, of course. By the way, I'm using autopilot, so it's going to be helping me complete the co-pilot, sorry, going to be helping me complete some of these things. All right, so for now, let's leave this like so, and then let's come into the template. Inside of the template, we'll create a new folder, and the folder will be called registration. Then inside of it, we'll create register. That's also where our logout template would be. So I'll just do registration/register .html like that, and hit enter. We should have our file created for us. So let me make sure this works just as it should be. Inside of here, we also want to put in our login. So I think I messed this up a little bit. So login.html like that, and this is wrong, so let me delete this and recreate this. So let's move it to trash, and then I'll just create register.html like that. All right, now inside of the register.html, we'll just put in a form that would show up when we want to register somebody. All right, so I'll just copy it from previous tutorial, like I've always done. So just copy this student one like that, and I'll just get rid of anything that we do not need. Let me get this off your face, and then paste this in here like this. And from here, we want to change it to registration or register, something like that. Or we could just do sign up. Sign up is better. Sign up like that, and here we could do sign up like that. And here inside of the form, I don't want to render it this way. So what we want to do is just to render the form as it comes. All right, so we just put in our form like that. This is what we'll be getting. Like I said, everything you are seeing here is something from our previous tutorial. So if you're confused about anything, make sure to check my previous tutorial. So now we have our register clearly as created for us. Now inside of here, we want to make sure we change this to registration/register like that, and we save that. So now that we have this, let's go back to our urls.py. I want to make sure that everything is working as it should be. All right, so up here we can now add a path like this. Now inside of the paths, of course, we are doing register, and we want to make sure that we import this register from the view. All right, so let's save this, and then let's come down here and run our server. Let's run our server as usual. Navigate and do a /register. So register like that, hit enter to sign up, which means everything is working as it should be. All right, so that's great. Now let's move back to our view. All right, we are now in our view. Here, views.py. We want to build out this registration form. All right, first things we want to do is to import the user registration form, and we get to import that from Django, if I will do that correctly, .auth .contrib .form, import user creation form like that. I hope this is correct. So Django.auth.contrib. Hopefully this is correct. I will have to check this to make sure, but let's finish building this out and I'll confirm that. All right, so right inside of here, the first thing we want to do is to get the form and then check if this form is correct, and if it's correct, we save it. That's just it basically. So the first things first, form equal to user creation form, and inside of here we want to pass in the request.post like this. Then we now want to check if form is valid like so. If it is valid, then we save, and then we return that it is successful. If it is not, we just want to render out the form. But of course, before anything, we want to make sure that the form is showing. All right, so let's save this and see what we have so far. So of course, I knew this was not correct. Something is wrong here. So this is supposed to be contrib. So let's redo this. It's supposed to be contrib dot auth dot forms. Now that is better. So that works now. I'll just change my interpreter. My interpreter is yelling at me, so the easiest way to do this is to change my interpreter. So let me just change my interpreter to this, and that should fix it. It's still not working. Let me change my interpreter. Let me use this. It's not working. All right, let's just let that be. All right, so once we save, you see that everything is cleared. All right, so with this we are good. Now let's go back to our form. So let's go back to our form here in the register and do a refresh. You see immediately we have a form presented to us because we have requested for this form from the user creation form. So it is like there is already a model for the users here, or for the user model, which Django creates for us or gives us out of the box, and all we need to do is to ask of the user creation form. So once we ask of this user creation form and we present it to our render here, pass it down to our template. So here's our template, and here's how we render the form. We have all of this showing up for us. So basically what we have here is a field for the username, we have a field for password, we have a field for password confirmation. So we are not all about styling here, we are just all about the authentication. How do we authenticate or create a particular user? So now that we have this form presented to us, we can now create a user. So let's just create somebody, and let's use a very plenty. And here inside of this password, now one good thing that Django also does for us is it does some sort of validation for us to make sure that what we are putting in is safe, you know. So let's put in a password here and make sure we confirm the password like so. All right, and once we've done this, let's save it and see what happens. Now it tells us that registration was successful, which means our registration is working perfectly, just the way it should work. But what happens when you want to have a little more, some more fields other than what we already have here? For example, we might want to add, say, email to what we already have, because we have just the username, the fields, and the password and the password confirmation. That's what we'll be doing next. Let's update what we have here, but for now let's make sure we check out these two. We've been able to view and create templates. So what we are doing now is to update our view here under the register. So that's where we are at this point. So I didn't have that before, and so let's just fix all of that immediately. So for us to be able to update this, we need to go and fix our forms. So we need to create a special form inside of the form.py here. Here in the form.py, let's create this new registration form. So we do a class like so, and then we say register form, something like this. So like I told you, I'm using Copilot, so it's helping me populate what we have here. But what we've just done here is to create a class called register form, and we pass in the model form here. Then we are passing down the user as the model that we want to use, and here we'll select a few fields that we need. So before we go further, let's make sure we get our import. So the first thing we want to get is the user creation form. So we get that, of course, from Django.contrib.auth.forms, and then we need to also get user from contrib.models like that. So Django.contrib.auth.models, and here instead of model forms, we want to pass the user creation form like that. All right, great. Then we want to add at least one field. So we want to add email field here as to be part of our registration. So here it comes with the forms email, so we want to make sure that we import the forms. So let's import forms from Django like so. And so once we have done that, then we need to come down here and then fix everything we have here. So basically what we need to do here is add the email. That's just it. So if you created say multiple more fields at the top here, say for example you added full name, last name, first name, and all that, all you need to do is just arrange it here, and everything will just work. All right. If you're wondering why username, password 1, password 2 are not created at the top here, it is because they have already been provided for us through the user creation form. As you would have noticed here, we have 3 fields, and all this came from the user creation form. All right. So what we are doing now is create an additional set of fields. All right. So once we save this, we now have our registration form here. Now that we have our registration form here, we have to return back to the views.py. And so instead of user creation form here, let's replace it with the register form. I want to make sure that we have imported it. So from the forms, let's import the user creation form. But a better thing to do would be to put this on the same line and get rid of this extra line like so. And so once we do this, and let's make sure we format that, save it, and come back. Hopefully everything works. You see, now that we've refreshed, we have one more field, which is the email field here. This is scattered, and if you like to style this, you just need to use a few styling, Bootstrap and all that. But we are not focusing on the styling. Just notice that we have email added to us here. This is on top of what we have already given to us by the user creation form. So this time around, we can try creating a user again. So let's do a very plenty 2, and let's create with an email and then a password. Okay, let me make sure I put in something I can remember. All right, 1 2 3 4, and then we do A B C D. That should work. And then let's try again, 1 2 3 4, A B C D, like that, and hit enter. And it's telling us password can't be too similar to your other personal information. You see, this is awesome because this is given to us outside the box. We didn't need to create all of this. So basically I just use a generic password, which doesn't make sense. So let's create something that really makes sense. All right, I would not say what I'm pressing here, but just know that I'm pressing something. All right, okay, let's try again, submit, and now it creates it for us. Awesome. So now we've completed registration, and that is great because what it means now is that inside of our database we now have a few people there. So let's try and see what we have in our database. We are moving to admin, like that. So let's try to log in, and once we log in, now we go to users, and we have 3 people here. You see, the first one, a very plenty, does not have an email address because as at then we didn't have a field for email address. But for the second one, very plenty too, we now have an email address, and this is awesome. And by the way, if you don't understand how the admin works, please check out my previous tutorial where I taught everything about Django. You get to learn about this. So now that we've